The sun was merciless that afternoon. It burned down on the mansion's wide driveway, turning the silver car into a boiling cage. Inside the locked vehicle, a little girl pressed her small hands against the glass. Her palms left wet marks. Her yellow dress clung to her body, drenched in sweat. Her lips were dry. Her chest rose and fell in shallow gasps. "Daddy," she whispered hoarsely, though no one could hear her. Her fists tapped weakly on the window. "Help me." Minutes earlier, the car door had clicked shut. Her stepmother's heels had clacked against the marble steps as she walked into the mansion, swinging her handbag. She hadn't turned back. She hadn't hesitated. She had locked the door with the press of a button and left the child inside. To anyone watching, it might have looked like a mistake. A careless woman forgetting her stepdaughter in the back seat. But the girl knew better. She had seen the smirk on her stepmother's face. She had heard the cruel words whispered before the door slammed. "You're not my child. Cry all you want. Nobody's coming." Now, the little girl's vision blurred as heat clawed at her body. Panic rose like fire in her chest. She tried to scream again, but her voice cracked into nothing. Her tiny fists grew weaker. On the porch, the maid had just finished folding a heavy basket of clean linens. She was dressed in her neat blue uniform, her apron tied tightly. She wiped sweat from her brow and turned toward the house. That's when she heard it. A faint thump, then another, then a muffled cry. Her heart skipped. She spun around, her eyes scanning the driveway. And then she saw her. "Emily!" the maid screamed. The basket of linen tumbled from her arms, spilling across the porch. She ran, her shoes scraping against the hot ground, her breath coming fast. She reached the car, yanked the handle locked. Her hands slammed against the glass. "Stay with me, baby. Don't close your eyes." Inside, Emily's tear-streaked face turned toward her. The little girl pounded her fists against the window, but the sound was faint. "It's hot. I can't," the child whispered, her words nearly swallowed by the heat. The maid's chest tightened. She looked toward the house. "Madam!" she screamed. "The keys! Where are the keys?" Her voice tore through the silence. But the door stayed closed. No one came. The maid's hands trembled as she hit the glass again and again. Pain shot through her knuckles. The skin split open. Blood smeared across the surface, mixing with the girl's tears on the other side. "Oh God, no!" the maid whispered, her voice cracking. She could feel time slipping away. And then the deep roar of an engine cut through the air. A sleek silver car screeched into the driveway. The millionaire stepped out in his navy suit, tall and broad-shouldered. His tie still knotted from a long day. He adjusted his cufflink absently, but then his eyes caught the scene in front of him. His face was drained of color. "What the hell is happening?" he thundered, striding forward. The maid's voice broke as she turned to him, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Sir, she's locked inside. She can't breathe." His head snapped toward the window. His daughter's tiny face was red, her lips cracked, her hands beating weakly against the glass. His chest clenched like a vice. "Emily!" he roared. He rushed to the car, pounding his fists against the window. "Daddy's here. Hold on, sweetheart." The little girl sobbed harder at the sound of his voice. Her mouth opened and closed desperately, sucking at the hot air. The maid slammed her palm against the glass again, ignoring the pain, ignoring the blood dripping down her wrist. "It won't break," she cried, choking on panic. The father's eyes darted around wildly. "Where are the keys?" he shouted. The maid shook her head. "She took them inside. She's not coming back." For one heartbeat, silence fell. Only the child's fading whimpers filled the air. The father froze, horror mixing with fury. His body shook, but his hands were empty. He was powerful, he was rich, he was respected. But at that moment he was helpless. The maid's breathing steadied. Her expression hardened. No more waiting. She spun toward the garden, grabbed a jagged rock, and turned back. "Wait!" the father barked. "The car!" But she didn't hesitate. She swung with every ounce of strength left in her. Crack! The glass shuddered. Blood ran down her arm. She screamed and swung again. Crack! The third strike split the window into glittering shards. The maid thrust her bleeding hand through, unlatched the lock, and pulled the little girl into her arms. Emily clung to her neck, sobbing into her chest. Her breaths came ragged, but she was alive. The father staggered back, trembling. His maid, her uniform soaked in sweat and stained with blood, cradled his child like her own. The girl's arms clung to her tightly, refusing to let go. The millionaire's eyes burned as he pulled his daughter into his embrace. Emily wrapped her arms around his neck, pressing her face against him, her small body shaking. He kissed the top of her head. His voice broke. "Sweetheart, who did this to you?" Emily's lips quivered. She glanced toward the house, then back at her father. Tears streamed down her face. "It was her," she whispered. Her tiny finger trembled as she pointed at the mansion. "She locked me in. She laughed when I cried. She said, I wasn't her child." The father froze. His blood turned to ice. The door to the mansion creaked open, and there she was. His wife stepped out, heels clicking softly against the marble floor. She carried her handbag lazily on her shoulder. Her face was calm, too calm. "What's all this noise?" she asked lightly, arching a brow. The maid's bloody hand tightened around Emily. Her voice shook with fury. "Don't you dare act innocent. You left her there. You wanted her to suffer." The woman's eyes flicked coldly to the maid, then back to her husband. She sneered. "Are you really going to believe her? A servant? She probably forgot the girl herself and now wants to pin it on me." "Enough!" the father's voice roared, echoing off the stone walls. His jaw tightened until it ached. "Emily told me what you did." His wife blinked in mock surprise. "She's a child. Children lie." Then she jabbed a finger at the maid. "And she's nothing but a desperate servant, hungry for pity." The maid's body trembled, but her eyes held steady. "I would cut my hand open 100 times to save this little girl," she said, lifting her bloodied palm. "Can you say the same?" The father's chest heaved with rage. His voice dropped to a deadly whisper. "No, you can't, because you didn't save her. You left her to die." The stepmother's lips curled into a bitter smile. "You can't prove anything." The father turned sharply toward the house. "Then let's see what the cameras say." Minutes later, they stood in the study. The maid sat with Emily on her lap, stroking her hair as the footage played on the screen. There it was, undeniable. The stepmother stepped out of the car, glancing back at the crying child, smirking, locking the door, walking away without hesitation. The father's face turned red with fury. Emily buried her face in the maid's shoulder. "See, Daddy? I told you." The stepmother let out a sharp laugh. "So what? Yes, I locked her in. Maybe now she'll learn she's not the little princess you spoil her to be. She's weak. She whines. She's in the way." The maid gasped, holding Emily tighter. "You heartless witch." The millionaire's fist slammed onto the desk. The sound made them all jump. His voice shook the walls. "Get out of my house." The woman blinked, stunned. "What?" "You heard me. Pack your things. Leave. You will never come near my daughter again." Her face twisted with rage. She jabbed a finger at Emily. "You choose her? That brat? And that maid? She's my daughter," the man thundered. "And the maid you insult just saved her life while you tried to destroy it. You are nothing to us. Nothing." Emily lifted her tear-stained face. Her voice was soft but firm. "I don't want you here. Ever." The stepmother's mask cracked. She let out a bitter laugh, her hands shaking as she clutched her handbag. "Fine. You'll regret this. Both of you." The father stepped forward, his voice a growl. "The only regret I have is marrying you. Now get out before I drag you out." Her heels clattered angrily as she stormed up the stairs. Minutes later, the echo of a suitcase dragging down the steps filled the hall. Then the front door slammed shut. Silence. The father turned back. His chest ached as he saw his daughter curled against the maid's chest, her tiny fingers gripping the woman's apron tightly. The maid's bloodied hand stroked the girl's hair gently. "You're safe, baby," she whispered. "Nobody's going to hurt you now." The man knelt down and wrapped his arms around them both. His voice broke. "Thank you. You saved what matters most to me. I'll never forget this." The maid shook her head softly. "She's your daughter. I couldn't stand by and do nothing." Emily sniffled, her small hand reaching out to hold both of theirs together. "Can we stay like this forever?" The father kissed her forehead, his tears wetting her hair. "Forever, sweetheart. I promise." And in that moment, though his marriage lay in ruins, he knew he had not lost. He had found the truth. He had seen real love in action. The woman he married had betrayed them both, but the maid, the servant he had barely noticed, had proven her loyalty with her own blood. Real family is not always about who shares your blood. Real family is about who protects you when no one else will. And on that burning afternoon, one woman's cruelty was exposed, while another woman's sacrifice became unforgettable. If this story moved you, hit like, share, and subscribe for more stories of courage, love, and truth. And don't forget to tell us in the comments where in the world you're watching from. We love hearing from every one of you.